Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, family, whatever side of the diaspora that you live on. Welcome to the Mental House. I am your host, Khadijah. As you can see, it is dark here, but it's extremely early in the morning because this is the time of day that I like to get up. I like to be up. I like to get up before the birds and do what I need to do to get in touch with my spirit and ancestors. And I had to come on before I got my day started to thank the River West Community Group for our second little meeting and the people that showed up because we really did have a conversation that I thought was worth doing a vlog about. It showed me the heart of I'm not going to ever dismiss the fact that I come from the town that Father Grappy lived in. And I do believe that people like John Brown still exist. And howbeit small population, it's a blessing when you're able to share a space with those type of spirits because you get the hope that all's not lost. My experience last night was beautiful because we had a chance to talk about the climate of America. We had an opportunity to talk about between the year I think it was 1917 and 1921 or 23, there were more killings, race riot, murders, and just out and out terror as there had been in any other time in America. Now, that's a lot given the history. So, the lynching, the burning of towns, all this stuff happens when the economy gets bad and white folks need somebody to blame. I was actually able to sit in the presence of white people and talk unhypocritically and not be shut off. So there was a few of them that got up and walked out, and that was a good thing. But for the most part, to know that there are some people that know that we're in a situation that you want to take responsibility for what your forefathers did in order to straighten out this mess. It can no longer just be, well, black people are the problem. And the uprising is the same. For generation. The same problem exists. At some point, you have to know that this is narcissistic behavior. And we had a chance to talk about that. And the fact that they listened. And it was not important. I was able to say that it's not important that you join some black organization. What's more important is that you go to your racist aunt and your racist uncle, your racist mama and daddy, or your racist granny or your great granny, and be able to say to them, listen, I don't want to hear that type of talk anymore, because I've since learned that it is not only is it hurtful, it's a lie. And the history in this country is based on lies. All the history books that I've read were based on lies. They were based on white supremacy. And what we've done in terms of our history, not only the black people, but the people of color all over until you're able to have that conversation with your family members, then it's gonna be difficult for you to really understand how uphill battle this really is. So joining an organization that is full of black people is not important. And I understood perfectly well their so-called or sincere thought process that let me join so I can help. Let me join so I can help. No. We as African people, we don't all think alike. We're just as diverse as you are. In fact, that we came from different uh, parts of Africa. So Africa is a vast continent. We didn't. It wasn't a one monolithic thought. Okay, so let's just put it like that. It wasn't one monolithic religion. Okay, but we are brought here, and at some point, this is even what black people think, that we should all think alike. No, it's that's ridiculous. So, but what I do know, that people, that Americans that are born here, I'm not talking about Africans that come from the diaspora over here. Africans that were born here, whose ancestors shaped America, they have a unique history. And right now we don't have allies. So, in the terms of ally building, that can only happen when people are willing to deal with the truth. So, I thought it was very, and I continue to commend them. I want to continue to say that was a good meeting. I hope we can dialogue further, because it is important that white people know that unless that they're part of the 1%, they're just nothing but a little delusional white trash, is what I should say. Because at the end of the day, we're all slaves to that 1%, and they got us fighting over and making real moves, real crazy moves now. I'm not denying that. Over fighting over crumbs while they have the majority of the resources. And at some point, we have to see that that's crazy. And it's not up for me to educate white people about that. It's for me to educate black people and let them know that we may have to be separate, okay? But separate starts first of all in the mind. You have to start understanding who is your open enemy and the practices of an open enemy. And that if you buy into the practices and the behavior of your open enemy, surely you don't think that you will be able to rebuke it, him, or reject it if you buy into it. So freedom, first of all, starts in right here. Okay, some of these concepts that we were able to speak on were just wonderful. And like I said, a few people got up and walked out because they weren't able to handle the conversation. But those were the people that didn't need to be there anyway. Okay, I encourage anybody to take part in those type of open dialogue. If you can do that in your neighborhood or wherever you at, in your school or in your church, wherever you at. Personally, even if you open up your home to it, and that is something that you can always do, and you can always get space at the library. But we are going to have to open up dialogue between ourselves, and we are going to have to open up dialogue and let the rubber meet the road. Because not talking and building this stack it's gonna blow. And we have to be smart. We cannot continue to do the same things that we've done and expect a different result. I'm beginning to see that this marching has become really, really, and I don't really want to say anything disrespectful, because I was a kid that marched. My parents had me marching. My dad used to have us marching. So, but at the same time, if marching has become where you go out there and look for your 5 minutes of fame, or you go out there and you want to rap and you want to go out there and twerk, then that should not be something that we should continue to do. We have to reevaluate strategy. That's not working anymore, because the majority of the people out there don't even have the right mindset in terms of liberation, because they're doing things that are totally contrary to what they're supposed to be out there for. Okay, so we got to remember that. But at the same time, be able to start in your community, no matter what. I don't know the makeup of the people's communities that are out here. My community, I live in the artist district, but there are some people they're just not going to hear you, and that's cool. That's 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 fine. This is not starting a meeting, but if you start dialogue and you get a chance to talk to people, and you give them an opportunity, and if you cannot react, just don't react. Don't react. Try to listen. Don't react. No matter how crazy this sounded, don't react. Don't react. If we can find a way to do that, in spite in the midst of all this garbage that has been perpetuated against us all, the ignorance, because that's what it is. And if we can't do that, then y'all know we're gonna perish as fools, right? Because all the other great empires are destroyed. Rome was once great. Egypt was one. All of the great empires once ruled. And the travesty would be that America didn't even last 600 years. It's an experiment gone totally bad. And I don't want to think that all our work was in vain. I don't want to think that Dr. King's work was in vain. Malcolm's work was in vain. I don't want to think that John Brown's work was in vain. Okay? Because this is where I'm at this stage in my life. Okay? So let's see what's up. And I want to hear your comments. All right? Again, shout out to my River West open-minded community members. And I hope we can do this again. And y'all, if you like what you hear, please like and subscribe. And if you got any questions, any comments, please leave them below. Thank you for being out there, and I'll talk to you next time in the mental house. Be blessed.